Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Movement Monday series with MS Views and News. For our Pilates class, you'll need a yoga block for today. If you don't have that, something like an empty shoebox is comparable, as well as maybe like a 3-inch book that is light enough for you to hold in your hands, as well as put between your legs for some of the movements that we have today. All right. So let us begin. We'll start with the block on the ground. I'm just going to scooch back a bit so you can see my feet there. And so the block or your book or the shoebox is going to be on the ground. And there's 3 different settings that we have. So this I call level 1, level 2, and then level 3. Okay, so we've got all of those higher settings or different settings with the block. So level 1 is going to go down between the feet. And you want to hug and squeeze in on that block, not to where your knees are caving in towards each other, but to where you're block distance apart and really hugging in and feeling those inner thighs starting to engage. With your hands down by your side, stack the spine up tall and try to feel the space between your ribs and your hips opening up. So the waistline is nice and open, so it allows you to have more opportunity to breathe deep. So let's start with that. Breathe in through the nose. And breathe out through the mouth. Just like you're fogging up a mirror. We'll do that 4 more times. Breathe in, sit taller, taller, taller. As you exhale, can you soften down the shoulders a little bit more? 3 more. Breathe in, feeling those inner thighs really starting to light up. Exhale, breathe out. Last 2. And then final 1. So the breath is central to Pilates, allowing us to bring in some more air, more oxygen, and nutrients. So now, continuing with that breath, as you exhale, I want you to lift your heels and that block up off the ground and then lower back down. Okay. And you'll repeat that as you're squeezing in on that block with your heels. 6 more times, 8 total. So it might not be the whole block. Even if the block is kind of tipping to one side because you might have one side that's stronger than the other, try to mimic like one side that's happening on the other side for 4 more. So even when the intention is there with the movement, you're still trying to get those neural pathways to turn on. Last 2. And final 1. Woo, and the thighs are already burning, okay? So now we'll just scooch that yoga block over to the right side. And I'm just going to tilt this down a bit so that you guys can actually like see what's happening foot-wise. There we go. So right foot is on top of the yoga block and we're still sitting up tall, not against that chair behind us. So right at the edge of that chair. From there, using the right side of your core, I want you to lift your right leg off of the block and put it back down. Okay, even if it's just the heel of your foot that's lifting up and down, can you still initiate the movement from your core? Okay, and with your hands, go ahead and press down or into the sides of your chair as you lift that leg or heel up. 5 more times. And we're doing this without leaning back or pulling ourselves forward or curling the spine for 4, all while staying stable and strong. 3, 2, and 1. Now put the right foot to the outside of the block. And now it's like a hurdle or a fence that we're trying to step over. You might have to step your left foot out a little wider, but still squeezing on the sides of the chair, stacking the spine tall, lift up and over. And you want to try to keep the knee and the foot in alignment with each other. So there's not any of like this where the knee or the foot are trailing behind each other, but that they're lifting, moving, all initiating the movement at the same time. Up and over, and up and over. Okay, still trying to focus on, now at this point, you'll probably be feeling the hip doing the work for you, but still try to focus on the core doing a majority of the work for you. Last 2. And final 1, inside and outside. Now from there, slide that block over to the left foot. And so by starting off at a higher position, like that height for some of us might already be too high, not too high, but a higher position than what we're used to. So we're just adding that little bit of a challenge to ourselves here. So you're pressing into that right foot, hands squeezing the side of the chair to help the shoulders pull down and back, and then lifting that left foot just a little bit higher. Maybe it's the heel of the foot, maybe it's the entire foot coming off of that block. 5 more times. Squeeze and hug in for 5. Feel the shoulders pulling down the back for 4, 3, 2. And now after this last one, put the left foot to the left side of the block, step up and over that hurdle. Ooh, and then that was not the best example. So making sure the knee does not travel in front of or the foot trailing behind the knee, but that everything stays in a vertical straight line position. 4, 3. Ooh, a little harder on this side. 2. And after that last one, slide that black block back to center, and then just turn it into a longer, still level 1, but a longer block position. So now you can place both sets of toes onto the block. Okay. And so we also want to make sure that so this is like a bad example, that the block is not off to one side of your body, but that it is in front of the body. So you can see knees right above the feet. So start by lifting and lowering both heels, how far down they go and how far up they go. Again, just depends on your body. Okay. But now as you're lifting those knees, can you think of almost like you're going to pull them off of the block? And then as you lower down, you're trying to pull your toes up towards you. And you're doing all of this without leaning forward or pulling back. 4 more. 3. Just warming up the joints of the body. In 2. And hold your heels lifted and we prance. One heel lowers down as the opposite heel stays high, and you switch the feet past each other. Still working on pushing your heel down, pulling your toes up as the other heel stays lifted. So I like to think of like a horse prancing through a meadow, just la-di-daing around. Still breathing deep, inflating the belly, opening the ribs, and keeping those shoulders down the back. Let's do 3 more each side. 3, 2, and last one. Keep your feet where they are. And then lean yourself up against the back of your chair while still maintaining a nice straight spine position. So it's called a hinge back or a flat back position. So with your toes still onto the block, hands are squeezing the side of your chair to then lift that leg up, one leg, doesn't matter which one, and then place it back down onto the block. Pull the opposite leg up. And then we're about to continue to progress into this motion. So always knowing that everything is an option. Okay. And you do not have to progress it if you don't feel up to it. Always listen to your body. All right. So we got 3 more each side. Making sure that when that knee comes up towards you, you're not collapsing the spine or pulling your chest towards the knee. Final 1 and 1. Now this is where we move through the arms. So reach your right arm up like you have a question. And left leg comes up and rotate and try to bring that hand either on top of or to the outside of that knee. We're going to stay on this side. So inhale, arm up, foot down. Exhale, curl to that leg side. Inhale, reach, and exhale, rotate. 6. And so when you press onto that knee, even if the hand is going to the outside, you are pushing into the outside of that leg to activate a little bit more through those fibers. And those fibers of your obliques, sort of like a seat belt coming across the midsection of the body. Last 2. And final 1. Nice job, everyone. Okay, so now place the right hand down, lift the left hand up, and rotate and press to the outside or on top of the thigh for 8. Reach, inhale, push, rotate, exhale. So there's always an oppositional energy that's happening as we're moving. So you push the hand down, you pull the knee up for 4 more. So that push-pull helps us to find, again, that seat belt sort of connection from the left ribs to the right hip. Last 2. And final 1. Place the feet down. From there, reach the arms forward. And now without using momentum, without like swinging the arms forward, I want you to lift yourself up and forward, sort of like Dracula coming out of the coffin, and then keep those knees together, hinge the body back until you touch the chair. Come forward and pull back. Exhale forward. Now, as you inhale back, think of like reaching the spine really long, long, long. Exhale forward 4. Inhale back. Exhale forward 3. 2. And now sit up tall. Last one. You're going to slide that block back underneath of your right foot. I'm just turning it so that my whole foot fits onto the block or the box that you have. And with genie arms, so you're going to place hands on top of the elbows, like you're about to like make a wish here. And as you exhale, rotate, twist to the right side, and inhale, look center. Okay, we'll start with 6 of these first. As you are rotating, I don't want you to feel your legs sort of gas pedaling past each other. Everything stays still from the hips down for 4. 3. If holding genie arms doesn't feel comfortable in the shoulders or the neck, 2, just cross the hands across the body, across the chest. 1. All right, so now leveling up if you want to. Lift your right leg as you twist for 6. Otherwise, you're still keeping that foot down and rotating for 5. Stay tall. Try not to lean back. 4. 3. Last 2. Whew. And final 1. Slide that block over to the left side. Foot stays on the block first for the 6 to rotate left. And then inhale, center. Exhale, twist. 5. Remember, the air is helping to purify the body, to cleanse the body. So as you push that air out, it's like you're wringing out a wet sponge. For 3. 2. Making room for all that new air that you're breathing in. Last 1. And we repeat with the leg lift. Lift that leg up towards you as you twist for 6. 5. So working those obliques into this rotation, but also you're going to feel this in the front of your thigh, the quad. 4. And that rotation of just holding those shoulder or the arms up, you're going to feel that a little bit in the shoulders. Last 2. And after that final 1, place the foot down on either side of that block again. Now this time, make sure that the block is on now level 2. Okay, so we were on level 1. Now we're level 2. So the block is just a little bit higher. Squeeze the feet against that block. So now they're a little closer, not together, but just a little bit closer. With your hands in front of you about mid-thigh, I want you to start to round the spine, curling the abs back, pulling the ribs in, and then lifting and stacking the spine tall. Okay, that yoga block is there for you to activate through those legs and make sure that they are still turned on so that it's not just you just collapsing forward and then standing tall, that you are working to get up and over like a barbed wire fence. So in a moment later on, we're going to have that block right on our thighs and you have to go up and over it. So imagine there's a block on your thighs. You're going over it to reach down for the toes 2 more times and then stacking tall. This is like good spinal articulation and stretching through the back as you strengthen through the abs. After this last one, whew, sit the spine tall. You'll reach down for a moment, grab that block, and now slide it up between the thighs. Okay, give it a nice firm squeeze. Hands pressed to the side of your chair. Now at this point, I'm going to slide it up a bit. There we go. All right. So then from there, you're hugging, squeezing against the chair there, and as well as the block. So as you're inhaling, sit up taller. As you exhale, squeeze a little harder, activate, engage a little harder. 4 more of those breaths. And so it might not look like much, but each time you're exhaling, there's more happening on the outside of that block. For 3, 2, and last one. So legs will stay still, come back into your genie arm position. And as you exhale and rotate, go right. Inhale, look center, and exhale, go left. So 180 degrees from one side to the next for 4 more each side. And so by taking your time, being intentional with the movement for 3, rather than just like willy-nilly going through the movement, you can really start to focus on the fibers that are helping us to turn and twist into that direction. 2 more each way, making sure you're not trying to lean into it just to force yourself or muscle through it. 1 more each way. Alrighty, now from there, stretch your arms out to the side and rotate like a sprinkler. We go 3 more each side for a total of 8 of these twists. And so when these twists are happening, if it feels like that block is sliding between your legs, I want to keep it still. Remember, everything above the hips is rotating, everything below the hips stays stable and strong. Last one to the right. Final one to the left. Whew. Then reach those arms forward and pull them back. 7 more and pull back. So we inhale forward and exhale, pull back. As you're exhaling, can you squeeze that block a little bit more for 5? Keeping those arms at shoulder height for 4. Last 3. Feeling those shoulder blades come back behind you, 2. And last one. Okay, so now this is where the movement of your body comes to sync up with the arms. So I'm just going to turn to the side for the moment. So as the arms go forward, your body leans back, hinge back. As your arms come out to the side, your body comes forward. Inhale to lean back as you reach forward. Exhale to slice those arms through the air as you come up. 6 more. For 5. 4. So you holding onto that block is going to help you to activate a little bit more of that musculature under you as well as behind you. 3, 2. Shoulders are starting to feel a little bit of burn here. Last one. So hold those arms out to the side and turn the thumbs down. Bring the hands forward. Turn the thumbs up. Bring the hands back. So from the side, kind of forward, kind of back. Bring it forward. Bring it back. For 6, 5, like little mini rainbows that you're making. 4, for 3, 2. Now the next time those hands go back, palms stay up and bring the arms up overhead, like you're hugging the moon. Keep a soft bend in the elbows and create that frame around your face. Doing your best to reach up overhead. And even if the arms are out at an angle, you're doing your best to keep those shoulders down for 4, 3. Now in a moment, we're going to do that yoga block in those hands for 2. So just imagine like, oh my gosh, these arms already feel heavy. Last one. So bring your hands down. Give your shoulders a little bit of a shrug there. I'm going to like wiggle out those arms a bit. Okay, now that block is going to go on top of, we'll start with level 1, but it'll go on top of the thighs. And so imagine there's like little spikes that are poking up. Okay, little stalagmites. Is that what they're called? Stalactites and then stalagmites. So from the bottom of the cave, there's little spikes coming up over that block. Arms out in front of you. You can keep those feet and knees together. And now you're trying your best to pull away from that block as you go down and forward. No touchy, no touchy, no touchy. And then come back up. Let's go for 5. Tail up and over, keeping it out of your shoulders, shoulders away from the ears, and then stacking the spine back tall. So if you need a little bit of assistance, your hands can kind of slide down the legs and you can press yourself up rather than like pulling yourself up. 2 more times. You even press those hands on top of the thighs. as you come up. Okay. But last one, if those arms are out in front of you, that's going to be the hardest or most challenging move there because you're not getting any help or assistance from anything. All right. So now with that block into the hands, it's at level, I guess is level 2, but you can hold it level 1 as well. So it's just a matter of like the width of your block is at this level here. Okay. So feet and knees stay together, press into the block like you're trying to smush it like a Coke can, and then push it out in front of you. Inhale to pull it back, and then exhale to press out in front. Now, this might sound weird, but when you are using your arms, the arms move from the back of your body. So there's a space right under and behind your armpit, and that's a muscle called your lat. It's a very big and strong muscle that we're trying to like I said, engage and connect into. So the feeling is sort of like you're hollowing out the armpits, okay, as you push forward and keeping that hollowness as you pull back. And the next time you reach forward, keep those arms long and rotate all the way to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate all the way to the left. And then repeat that same pattern. The further that block is away from you, the more challenging it is for the arms. And it might not feel like a challenge at first, but we've got 4 more to go. And that's when the block starts to feel maybe a little heavier. For 3. Just like we've been practicing, everything under the hips stays still. So if the block is closer in towards the chest, it won't feel as heavy like the further it is away from that center of your body. Final 1 to the right. And last 1 to the left. All right, so now with that block, we're going down to the right, rainbow it up and center and down to the left. Okay, we're about to get a little bit more complicated. So we're just going to start with 3 of these to kind of get through the foundation movement. So 1 more to the right. And 1 more left. So now when you come up with that block, you're going to bring it around town, bring it behind the body or behind the head, and then go back down to the right side. Okay, you come up, over behind the back left side of your body, and then down to the left side. Come up, over and around like you're tracing around a halo. Rotate, twist, lift, come down into the left side, come up, twist, lift. 1 more time down to the right side. Keep squishing that yoga block as if it were that Coke can. And last time around the head. Nice job, everyone. All right, so now with that block, you're going to hold it. So pinch it between your forefingers and your thumb. And then that hug a moon that we did earlier, now that block is here. Want to roll those shoulders down the back and keep your ribs wrapped underneath of you. So like nice and flat on the front and the back. Lift the block up, pass it to the other hand, and then come back down. Oh, it's like a magic trick. So I'm coming up over. You can't see me passing it. And then it's over on that right side. So squish and press that block when it is up overhead. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. So remember those muscles right behind and down, right behind the armpits and behind your shoulders. Those muscles are pulling as well as trying to press those arms up overhead. 2. 2. Okay, 1 more time each way. That block is going to stay above the head. So hold that block above the head. I know you can't see it, but it's there. And then smush and press it and then rotate your body to the right and come back center. Rotate like a barbershop pull to the left. 3 more each way. So if this is a little too hard, holding it up overhead, come back to where you were before, out in front of the heart. So we've already been here before, but now this is just a little added challenge with it being above the head. Keep those shoulders soft. Last one, right? Keep smushing and pushing into that block. Last one, left. Awesome. And then bring that block down. Ooh, give those shoulders a little bit of a shrug and roll. Get some blood flow into that area. Excuse me. All right, so step your feet, excuse me again, out to about hip distance apart. And with that block into your right hand, we're going into some roll downs where the block is going between your legs. So I'm going to show you real quick, between the legs as your left arm comes up behind you. So that block is there for you to press into, and that left arm is behind you for you to lift up into. Okay. So then we'll come back up, both arms forward. So we'll all start here together. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, that left arm slices through the air behind you as your right arm presses down into that block. And then lift both arms back up in front of you. So if it feels like you want to go further, you can hold the block on like level 2. So you'll press further, deeper down into the ground, getting lower as that left arm comes up and behind you. Lift the arms back up. And so what this is doing is it's stretching that capsule of the shoulder on the front of the body as you're lifting that left arm up. And you're getting a nice deep engagement through the abs as you press into that block. 2 more times. And last one. So now when you come up, just switch the block over to the other hand. Both arms start out in front of you. Right arm slices through the air behind you. Push the yoga block into the earth as your right arm slices up higher, and then lift back up. Inhale. 5, 2, 4. So every time you come up out of this forward folding position, you're strengthening your back muscles to be able to sit yourself up taller. For 3. Nice job, you guys. Last 2. And final 1. And even if you weren't feeling it, there's a little bit of rotation happening at the spine. Okay, so now we're gonna add into not the same movement, but a similar movement. So you're gonna hold the block like a pizza box in your right hand. Okay, and maybe it's like a platter here. You're gonna start by reaching that right arm out in front of you as if it were a Christmas present, and then pull it back in. When you press out, exhale, and then pull it back in. Okay, we'll do about 2 more there. Just getting used to the fundamental movement here. So if you struggle or this is challenging already, then stay right here. But now as you push forward, can you rotate to the left, looking over your left shoulder? And then pull it back in and look center. Rotate, look left. Pull it back in, look center. 2 more of these, and we'll add the left arm to the movement. Okay, last one. So some of you might already be feeling it, how that left arm kind of slides up the leg as you push that right arm forward. So I want you to start with both arms out in front of you first. Okay, oops, sorry, both arms bent by your side first. Okay, so now as that right arm punches forward, I want you to pull and maybe reach that left arm behind you a little bit more. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from the side. So as you reach the right arm forward, left arm rotates back and you're looking over those fingertips there. Come back to your start position, bent arms next to your rib cage for 4 more. 3, again, make sure your legs are not gas pedaling past each other. Everything below the hips stays still. Last 2. Bring yourself out like that wet sponge or washcloth that you are. Last 1. Switch to the other side. Start first with just the fundamental movements. Right hand onto your lap. Reach that left arm forward. We got some mimosas on the platter. Okay, we're reaching out, offering up some hors d'oeuvres to our guests. Last 2. And last 1. Okay, now add a little bit of rotation. So turn towards the right as you reach forward. And then look forward as you pull it back in. Maybe notice how that right hand wants to slide up the thigh. Okay, 2 more of those. And we get ready for that full option. Last 1. So now both arms tucked in by your side. And even that right palm is up as if it had a yoga block as well. Okay. So as your left arm goes forward, right arm slices back behind you and then pull back to your start position for 6. Exhale as you rotate to reach from fingertip to fingertip and pull forward for 4. Nice. For 3. Like you're spreading your wings, getting ready to fly. Last 2. And also notice which side might be a little easier to rotate into. Last 1. Just become curious about that. All right. Good. So a little bit of a break for the arms. We're coming back down to using those legs. So this time, level 2 of the block, or the widest option of your block, goes between the thighs. So not really at the knee joint, but right at your thighs there. So it's a little higher up the legs. So hands down by your sides, squeezing in against the sides of your chair, shoulders down the back, spine tall. Each time you exhale, squeeze the legs in a little bit more for 4. You can inhale, kind of release, and exhale, squeeze in again for 2. It's very subtle, but you can kind of see how my legs are kind of opening and closing. 3. And so try to notice that core, helping to wrap around that core a little bit more. All right, so now hinge your body back to lean. Ooh, my chair is very cold. To lean against the back of that chair there. And so if this is too much of a lean and lifting one leg up is like not happening, you can scoot yourself up against the chair so you're sitting up taller. We're gonna start with the right leg, or you choose if you wanna do the left leg, but you're staying on that side to stretch that leg out and then pull it back down. Meanwhile, hands are still pressing against the side of the chair, shoulders back and down, ribs connected on the front as well as on the back. For 5. And so if you're not quite sure, like, what does that mean when the ribs are connected? Of course they're connected. Last 3, I want you to feel like as you exhale, how the ribs move closer to each other too. Okay, so just notice that. That's what we mean, like when a Pilates teacher says, like, to bring those ribs together, to knit them together. So now switch over to the other side. For 8, left leg or the other leg you choose, which if you started on the other side. For 7. For 6. 5. It's kind of like there's an antenna coming out of the top of your head, and that antenna connects to the rest of the spine. I may have lost count, so let's say 3 more. Last 2. When in doubt, it's always 3 left. Last one. All right, so now try to come out of this using your abs, your arms reach forward, and then trying not to swing yourself forward, but rather lift yourself forward. Okay, so with your palms rotated down, it's sort of like a row, like what we were just doing with the block, but this time your palms are facing down. So when you rotate towards the right, stay up tall for the first 4. Rotate forward, and you're pulling the elbow back like a bow and arrow and rotating towards that elbow. 4. One arm stays forward, like you're punching it forward as the other arm pulls back for 3. 3, 2, 2. So there's what it looks like from the side. Staying tall and lifted. Last 1. And 1, but now we add a hinge back. So one arm pulls back, rotate towards that side and lean towards the back of your chair. Come up and forward and punch forward. Lean back and inhale up. 3 more each side. It's kind of like a dance move here. 2 more each way, and that block between the legs is helping to keep the lower body along for the ride. So everything's working here with us. Final 1 to the right. And final 1 to the left. All right, so now come back forward. Maybe give those arms a little wiggle. And then you'll need to scoot yourself back, all the way back until you are ideally up against the back of your chair. Scooch forward a little bit. And holding that block into your hands and letting it be a sort of like a limbo bar for you to actually, you want to touch up against that limbo bar there. So now we're going to lift that right leg up, lower it down, bring the block over the left leg and lift it up. So you want to touch the block to the leg each time, or touch the leg to the block. So if you're not quite able to get it up, bring the block down to it. If you can, challenge yourself, hold that block higher and bring the leg up to it. Yeah. If you want to challenge even more, go wider than the leg, all the way to the outside of that leg. Ooh, for 2 more. You can see my cat behind me on the door. Last one to the right. Last one to the left. Come in? Guess not. Okay. So from there, you're going to place the block down and over to the right side. You're still as far back onto your chair as you can. And that block is now your, I guess, limbo bar for you to reach towards. Left arm is up like you have a question. Right arm goes down to touch or to press into that block. Okay, so it's on level 3 for me right now, the highest block position. So when you come back up, get ready to go back down and over for 4. So if you wanted to challenge yourself, like as long as you're not going to fall over or off of the chair, you can put it at level 2 or another level down. As long as you can get the palm or the heel of your palm to the block and then lift yourself back up out of it. Let's go 2 more. And final one. Now after that last one, pick the block up, bring it over to the left side. I'm going to start on level 3 or the highest level there. With the right arm up like I have a question, and then the left hand presses into the block. Notice I didn't say the fingers press into the block. It is the whole hand, the palm of the hand pressing into it. I'm actually tighter on this side, so I'm going to leave it at level 3. Keeping that shoulder down away from the ear. Oh, feels so good. Last and final one. Now, pick up that block, bring it with you, place it between the hands. If you want to scoot yourself forward, especially if you have like a taller chair behind you, scoot yourself forward and you'll reach the block behind the head and keep those elbows in tight. Okay, so make sure like if you had a block that you're holding between your elbows, like it would stay there rather than dropping down. Okay. All right. So from there, straighten those arms up overhead, smush and push into that block, and then bring it back down behind you. We're here for 7 more. As you straighten those arms up, keep those shoulders soft for 6, 5, elbows staying in for 4. We want to make sure that you're not like leaning the head forward. So lift up tall for 3, 2. Awesome. And then last 1. All right. So bring that block down, hold back onto that pizza box and bring it off to the side. Okay. So this is for your rotator cuff muscles. So the rotator cuff muscles help to rotate the shoulder. So we want to make sure we're starting off in a good, strong position first. So actually, we're going to start with that block forward. Roll the shoulder up, back, and down. And imagine you're holding something under your armpit and like right in against your side. Like say it was your cell phone, for example, and you don't want to drop it down to the ground. So you're going to keep that phone right against your side and then open that block out wide and then close it in tight. Okay. Ooh, don't want to take the chair with me. Continue with that movement. And you could place your hand there, or if you had like maybe a towel or something that you can give yourself a little bit of a feedback loop. So if you dropped it, you're like, oh, wow, my arm is out here. Of course I dropped it. We don't want to drop it. For 3. So that feeling of setting the shoulder down the back stays in 2. And you're holding that arm out to the side, last 1. As you reach out, it's like you're pulling that shoulder back and in, and then tuck that elbow into the side and reach out away from you. 7. Meanwhile, left hand is pressing heavy into that left leg for 6. 5. So I think of Pilates as like, what is the most that you're going to get out of this movement? Like, how can you look as effortless as possible? Last 2. And to look effortless, like you have to get everything on board. Last 1. So go ahead and switch that block over to the left hand. What I mean by that is like right hand, both legs, everything is like engaged here. So start first by pulling that shoulder back and down, squeezing that elbow in, stack the spine tall and rotate for 8. Yep. And this is where you can also keep that right hand up and underneath of that armpit. Okay. So you can feel the same pressure inside of the arm pressing against that hand for 4. For 3. Yes. Can you smile? 2. I hope it's a little better than like a man telling you to smile. Last one. So now hold that arm out and then reach the arm away from you as you're trying to like pull that shoulder back and in, and then elbow tucks into the side and then stretches out and away from you. And so the movement itself is always like, really? That's it? But if you have everything online with you, like right hand pressing down, both feet standing heavy, as that left arm like reaches away, you're trying to pull it back in, then the whole movement itself turns into something completely different where you're like, whoa, everything's lit up like a Christmas tree. Last one, pull back in, and then lower it down onto your lap. Just give your arms a nice little wiggle, like roll forward. You can kind of sashay your body from side to side. You can even pull underneath of your legs to get that stretch in the back body. Okay, rounding up through the front. Woo. All righty. So let's place that block now, level 2, onto the ground. I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see the profile here. So with that block out in front of you, you do want it to start between the legs, okay? But just like we did at the beginning of the class, it's going to be a hurdle for you to step over. So if it's too high, go back down to level 1. But now we're adding into the movement. So you're going to, you can either hinge back, so listening to your body, understanding what a hinge versus a C curve is. So that C curve, your pelvis, your hips scoop underneath of you, and it's sort of like your tail is trying to tuck under you. And so this creates the shape of a C through the spine. So right leg is where we're going to start to focus. You're either in that C curve or hinge back to lift up and over and bring it back out wide. Meanwhile, everything above the hips stays completely still. Your hands can be in prayer center. You can have those genie arms again. We're going 4 more with that right leg. For 3. Last 2. And if you're to the side like me, that's a great way to like have the back of the chair to hold on to. Last 1. If you need to slide the block over to the left side, we're getting ready to go right over to that left side for 8. And step it back out for 7. Holding, again, genie arms, prayer position, 6. For 5. 4. 3. All right, here's 2. And after this last one, go ahead and sit your spine up nice and tall, hands to the knees to cat and cow through the spine. To inhale, pull the heart up towards the ceiling, and exhale, round the chin towards the chest and pull the rib cage back. 2 more of each. Inhale, tailbone untucks from you, and then exhale, tailbone scoops back under you. 1 more. Awesome. All right. Block is between those feet again, not holding, but still between the legs. So if you had to move it left or right, bring it right back to the middle. With your hands staying onto the thighs, you're again either C curving back, okay? So if you feel a deeper ab contraction through your C curve versus your flat back, then choose what position gets you into that powerhouse a little deeper. I like C curve, but some people, they feel that in their low back, and so like flat back is better. As you're pressing those hands down into the thighs, I want you to lift your right leg up against that pressure of your hand, put it on top of the block to tap, and then put it back down. So your hands, your arms are what is giving you some resistance to press up against. Now it's the left leg's turn. As all this is happening, you're not leaning back or leaning forward. You're staying completely still. So the space between your chest and your thigh shortens and lengthens. Whew. Going for 4 each side or 8 total. So this is number 3 each side. Oh, my goodness. Last one. And 1. So now stack the spine up tall. And I want you to rotate so that your left hand is on your right thigh. Your right hand can come back behind you onto the chair. And again, either C curve back. So now we're adding the obliques to the literal twist here. Okay. But your left hand is now the resistance. So if this is too hard or too heavy, just take the hand away, but hold your twist. You're going to lift that right leg up, tap it onto the block, and then put it back down. Meanwhile, your right hand is behind you onto that chair, helping to support you. But if you don't want the help, take your hand away. You can either reach it away from you, hold it away from you, or even harder, oh my goodness, lift it up overhead. Staying in that C curve or flat back position. Last two. And final one. From there, stack tall. Bring your right hand over to your left thigh. Left hand comes behind you, C curve back. Okay. And then push that leg up against the hand to tap the yoga block and then back down onto the ground for 5. Maybe that left arm is behind you, not even holding onto the chair, or up above you. 4, 3. Woo. Last 2. And very nice. Last one. Bring everything down. Both hands have now switched. So you've got right on left leg and left on right leg. So as you go down, bend the elbows out wide, and you want to like pull as if you're trying to like pull your legs together. So pull your hands on the outside of the legs, and that just helps to create or facilitate a deeper stretch in between the shoulders. You can kind of shimmy your body from side to side. And then stack the spine up tall again. Whew, cat and cow through the spine. One time through. Awesome. All right. So we saved the best for last before we start our cool down. So if you are able to come up out of your chair, these are some great options to help to practice like on your own if you feel comfortable with that. This is where if you wanted to bring your chair like in front of a wall or so like in between a doorway to kind of help yourself up, that's a great opportunity to do so as well. So the block is going to go between your thighs. And so if you do not feel comfortable, if you're unable to come up off and out of the chair, what I want you to work on is leaning yourself back and then pulling yourself forward until you feel like a lot of your weight is into the feet. And so that's what you're going to work on, is rocking the body back and then forward. Okay, so we're all going to do that to start so that we can all feel or notice like how the weight transitions into your feet so that we can then lift ourselves up. Okay, squeeze into the block as you exhale forward. And it may even have to be like another chair in front of you for 2 that you hold onto with your hands. Okay, so after this last one, so this is your last one, we're going to start to try to lift your butt off of your chair. Okay, so what that's going to look like is a little bit of this. You're going to hinge forward, hover, lift, and nice. Go back down, hinge back, push into the feet, hover, lift, and then lower back down. So this is not momentum and then just plopping back onto the chair. This is slow and controlled for 3 more, squeezing in on that block. And so now you can say like, ooh, I did a little bit of chair pose. So this is Utkatasana in yoga, or chair pose, being able to hold yourself and hover, 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 last one, and then to slowly lower back down. Very nice. All right, so take that block out. And no matter where you're at, even if you're not coming off of the chair, your right foot goes on top of that yoga block. Now, what I recommend on this one is getting into a wider stance. The wider the stance, the more foundation, or the wider the foundation you have underneath of you. So the more secure you can feel. If this is too challenging, you do not have to do this with the block, okay? So same thing, we're all gonna start about 4 to 5 times leaning back and hinging forward until you feel like, ooh, about 95, 99% of my weight is in those feet. 3. So we're gonna practice and follow that same pattern of movement in 2, where we're gonna try to hover and lift those butt cheeks off of the chair. So here's your last one to come forward. Now the next time you come forward, you're gonna lift yourself up off that chair, get some space, and then lower back down without plopping. Let's go for 5 more. So if you feel like your hands have to be onto the thighs, it's not the end of the world, but then can you take your hands off the thighs as you come back down? Yeah. So you might need a little assistance getting up, but then see if you don't need assistance coming back down 3 more times so that eventually you feel comfortable with coming off and back down without that assistance. Nice job for those of you I can see. Last 2. And final 1. Left leg. Block is under that foot. Right leg has stepped out wide. So how wide just depends on like how comfortable you feel. Maybe you need it a little bit more narrow. Maybe you need it actually wider. But now that we've like, let's shift that weight forward 4 times, just kind of feeling out, okay, there's a little bit more pressure maybe into that left leg. And so that's why we have that block there, is like you're actually unilaterally working and strengthening one side more than the other. So here's number 2. And final 1. All right, so then from there, get ready to come up and hover for 6 and come back down. Okay, for 5. And so remember, even if you can't get off of one side, so like if the block is now here and you're like, oh man, there's no way I'm coming off of this chair, you're still working on those hinge backs, hinge forward so that your body feels comfortable with this rocking position of putting that weight into your feet. Last 2. And final 1. All right, now that we are warmed up, here's the grand finale. Put that yoga block out of the way and step your feet where you feel comfortable, okay? So if you're not able to come out of the chair, that's okay. Keep working on your rocks back and forth. But if you are able to come out of the chair, I want you to come all the way up, stand tall, and then come all the way down, slow, slow, controlled. Lean it back against the back of your chair or towards the back of the chair. Come forward and up, and then come back down. Okay, so by taking your time on the way down, that's called an eccentric muscle contraction. That is where your muscles are literally like stretching and tearing. And I know tearing sounds like a bad thing, like, oh my gosh, we don't want that to happen. But you have to break stuff down to build it back up. Last 3. And so when we go slow, like what we're doing with this intentional movement, last 2, this is called time under tension. And so that time under tension starts to equate moving heavier mass or heavier weight. Final 1. So we don't need heavy weights. I mean, it would help, but we got to be able to do this first before we add weight to the movement. Okay. So after that last 1, good. Nice job, you guys. We did it. So even if you were able to make your way out of the chair just once, like that was maybe 1 time better than what you may have done before. So we'll need this block for the next couple of stretches. So you're going to place the block level 1, okay, right in front of the chair, and you're going to turn to the right so that your left knee can come down, hopefully onto the block. Now, if your chair is very high, it might not come down to the block. So maybe you need that block on level 2 or I wouldn't recommend level 3 because that's very wobbly. But you want to press down that knee into the block so that your knee, hip, shoulder, and head are into alignment. Your right hand is on the back of your chair. Okay, so basically this is like a supported lunge position. Left arm, lifts up like you've got a question, and then side bend over to the right. Keep your knee on that block. And if pushing onto the knee, it gives you like some discomfort or it bothers you, the block can be under the shin. It can be under just that lower part of your leg. And then come back up. Inhale. Exhale up and over. Opening up through that left side. And you might even feel that stretch going down the front side of your body as well. Final 1. Alrighty. Now, left hand, once you come back up, reaches down behind you. So there's a couple ways. Well, there's really only 2 ways that I can think of that you can come into it. Depending on your strength, you might be able to just bend the knee and grab the foot. Okay. If you can't do that, lean over to the right, lift your leg up, and then grab that foot and place it back down onto the block. So that's the important part, is like having it on the block so we can stretch out that front of your thigh and hip. If you are unable to make contact with that leg at all, then I want you to just try to pull that leg up. So even if you're unable there, you're strengthening that back of your leg, which is really what we all need. And you're opening up. You might not feel it right now, but you're opening up that front of your hip. Okay. Wherever you are, release the leg down, relax, and take that stretch up overhead one last time. Try scooping your tailbone under you as you reach over to the right side. All right, and then come back up. Okay, from there, your left leg slides out in front of you until it's long, and your left arm reaches out in front of you for that nice hamstring stretch. So we've got 4 different hamstrings. It's a group of muscles, not just one muscle. So stack your spine up tall and then turn your toes out to the left side and then reach forward again. Okay, so we've got a set of muscles on the inside of your leg and then another set of muscles on the outside of your leg. So stack up nice and tall. Now turn your toes inward, okay, and then reach forward again. So just changing the angle of your leg can change the angle or the line of stretch in the leg. All right, so when you're ready, come back up, start turning yourself to the left, taking your time to get there until your right knee or your shin is onto that block, okay? And then you want to either scoot your body forward or pull that chair either back or forward so that you feel supported. It's basically just my whole left leg and cheek that's on the chair. My right side is not even touching it. And then I've got knee, hip, shoulder, and then head alignment. Meanwhile, left hand is onto the back of the chair, okay? And I'm trying to scoop my tailbone under me, okay? And you can even check to make sure, like, is your butt turned on? So you can open up to that front of your hip. Right arm reaches up like you have a question, and side bend over. Ooh, a little tighter on this side to the left. Inhale back up. And exhale over, excuse me. You know, the stretch is good. It just takes your breath away. Inhale back up 2 more times. And exhale over. And final one. All right, now here's the challenge. Right hand reaches back behind you. And remember, you can either bend that leg to grab the foot or lean over to the left. Ooh, got a little hamstring cramp there. Lean over, bring that foot up to you, and then bring the knee back down onto the block, okay? And remember, if you cannot reach for that leg, you're trying to pull that leg up to you. So no matter where you're at, you're strengthening that back of the leg as you open that front of your hip. Without slingshotting or letting go of the leg without any intention. I want you to slowly lower back down, let it go. And then pull that right leg forward out in front of you. Keep your toes up towards your nose and reach forward for the foot. And when you lift back up, from the whole hip down to the foot, turn it out. And then reach forward again. So you'll feel that stretch down the outer part of your leg. And then when you come back up, turn the toes inward. And when you reach forward, ideally, you're probably feeling that through the inside of that leg. And if you're not, then you might just not be tight there. But when we change up the angle, we get the different fibers to turn on or to stretch for us. All right, when you come back up, you can take that block out of the way. But final stretches here, left arm down, right arm up. Go ahead and reach over towards the left side and bring your hand behind your head. Pull your head into your hand and try to lean over just a little bit more. And then come back up. So keep that hand behind your head, bring the other hand onto the elbow and slide the hand further down the back. Trying to look for that stretch down the back of that, maybe right or left arm, whichever one is going down between your shoulder blades. Now that hand is going down as the other arm reaches up overhead for the side bend to the right. Well, this is my right side. And then your hand comes behind the head, pull the head back into your hand, and then try to lean over a little bit more. Okay, so then when you come back up, leave the hand behind the head. Your arm or your hand comes onto that arm and slide it down the back of your body a little bit more. Between those shoulder blades. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. All right, release the arms, wiggle out the fingers, wiggle out the shoulders, maybe a gentle roll through the neck there, or a cat and cow through the spine. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for Movement Monday. Hope everyone enjoyed that class. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, check out all of our other recordings as well. Thanks so much for coming, you guys.